What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ahmad's Corner. We're back this week with just Steve. Steve, say what's up to the people.
Oh, yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
So, we did an emergency episode last week to discuss the state of manhood as exhibited through hip-hop.
Yeah, niggas is fucking bitch.
What?
Busta Rhymes said it one time and it sounded cool.
Niggas is bitch?
Yeah.
Like, are they bitch made or are they just bitch?
He just said niggas is bitch.
Okay. Like, that's a different type of lingo. Shout out to Busta Rhymes. But I think we've also discussed that Busta Rhymes needs to retire, or at least switch his hustle.
Switch his hustle to what?
I don't know. He was selling cell phone batteries on Master of None, so maybe that's what he can do.
Yeah, well, like, you can't take the battery out the cell phone nowadays, so...
Yeah, but he's selling the battery to the company. There's probably money in that shit.
Yeah, well, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Busta Rhymes.
He's doing what I want to do.
Exactly. So, obviously there's an elephant in the room. Female rappers are going back and forth. Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma have some sort of tit for tat going based on only God knows. And I think we wanted to talk about this, one, from like the perspective of their beef, but also just like where females land in like this whole hip hop thing. Because I was never really a fan of very many female rappers. I mean, back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I think female hip hop was a lot better. You had your Lil' Kims, your Eves, Foxy Brown to a much less degree.
What, you don't fuck with Foxy?
What's a good Foxy Brown song? Solo.
I gotta do my Googles.
Exactly.
Because I only remember the joint she did with Jay-Z, and them shits is kind of mediocre.
Yeah, they're all weak. But she did have a dope verse on Affirmative Action off of Nas' second album.
See, there you go.
So
she can rap. I just feel like her music's kind of weak.
Yeah, she can rap. And then, you had Trina.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Trina.
You had, the whole Missy Elliott phenomenon.
I feel like Trina was like second tier. Like, when you talk about, like, Eve and all them, it's like, then it's Trina after that.
Yeah, because Trina just raps about sucking dick.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to bring something more to the table.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're going to rap just about sucking dick, like, do it like Lil' Kim, like, on a higher level.
Yeah, pretty much.
Those were high-quality bars, whether or not... And Kim still had bars after Biggie died, so like, I'm pretty sure Kim can rap.
Yeah. Like,
Put Your Lighters Up is dope to me.
Yeah. I like Magic Stick as well.
Yeah, I fuck with Magic Stick, So, like, yeah, like, the state of female rap, I think through the generations, it's always been, like, I never knew a female rapper that I would put on the same level as any male MCs, and that's not, like, sexism, that's just, like, pure quality of the music. Like, I don't know any female rappers that, like, have a classic album or have like, essential hip hop tracks. Like, when you're making an essential hip hop track playlist, I don't think too many female rappers come up on the list. I mean, you got your UNITYs and shit like that. Shout out to Queen Latifah. And then, a lot of people say shit about MC Lyte. MC Lyte is dope though.
Yeah.
She did have some good songs and shit. Check out a story called Pimp off of Common's like Water for Chocolate album, classic song. Outside of like, those little moments, I can't say that like, female rap is like really good, or it's like something like, if it wasn't in the game, would we miss it? Like, is it really an essential part of hip hop? And I say all that to say, because like, this battle is about, like, half of it they're talking about, who fucked who, and the other half, like, they're talking about bars. But I'm like, neither one of y'all have bars.
No, not at all.
And like in that whole, the Mount Rushmore, the Pantheon, whatever you want to call it, of female rappers, where do these two artists fit in? Like, before we even break down their battle, like, are they even worth us talking about? Like, because, like, to me, it kind of seems like if two mediocre male rappers were going back and forth, would we even give it any attention?
No.
But it's like you got two mediocre female rappers who, you know, for a large part, like a lot of their shit is a gimmick anyway. But like just based on pure music, the hip hop side for Nicki, because like, you know, we know she's a pop star. But on the hip hop side, like, have either one of them like put enough on the fucking tape for us to even have this conversation?
What's the gimmick about Remy Ma? That she's a thug or something?
Yeah.
I mean, she did try to kill a bitch.
Yeah, but she's 40. Grow up. You know, I just want to put that. I want to put that out there. It's like, you know, yeah, there's a lot of hoopla because y'all are probably the only two female rappers right now that anybody cares to talk about. But at the same time, if we just talking about based on pure hip hop skill, like both of y'all rank pretty low. Like Nicki's all right, like sometimes, but you know,
they're probably on Trina's level.
Is that saying much?
No, I'm saying they're a tier after.
Is J. Cole a better rapper than Trina?
Yes.
Then we should give. Is J. Cole a better rapper than Nicki Minaj?
Yeah, absolutely.
By
far.
So then we should be slandering the shit out of both of them now, because J. Cole's what, 76? And so like, where does Nicki rank and where does Remy rank?
So where is it? Yeah, what would be Nicki Minaj? What is she?
Like 65? Yeah, Remy's like a 52. Because Remy's horrible.
Yo.
Like you know,
this nigga put Remy on special teams. And
yeah. She's definitely special teams. Rem, like, you know, she like the fifth linebacker that's like just off of the practice squad. Like might get cut a couple weeks into the season. Because, you know, for her to talk all this shit, and, you know, I'm being so hard on Remy because she has a video for BT where she's ranking bars and she's, you know, dissing, like, all of these rappers, male or female, saying how weak their bars are. And, like, she has no flow. Her delivery is dry.
Garbage.
And the content of her lyrics is mediocre at best. Like, she's not reinventing the wheel on anything that she says. So I'm wondering, like, you know, she obviously thinks she's a much better rapper than what she's put on Wax. And then for her to come at Nicki in this way, like, you know, to think that you were good enough to hop on Ether, which I'll get to in a second, is one thing. And then, like, you know, to come at Nicki like y'all are on equal playing field. Like, even in your arena of female rappers, Nicki's on a whole nother level. And you didn't even level up to where a Lil' Kim was at. Like, when Lil' Kim and Nicki were going back and forth, it was, you know, even though Kim was, like, at the kind of tail end of her career, Lil' Kim had the resume to come at, like, a Nicki. But, does Remy, like they're not even the same weight class?
Remy's got like one album.
She's got like one hit.
Oh,
one solo hit.
The right hand up.
Yeah, the right hand up.
Is that a hit?
I
guess
just
a single. It's not even really a hit.
You know, it's street anthem, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, that shit can play in the club.
That
shit not really a hit.
So I think when you talk about that too, it's like it's not, y'all not even in the same weight class. Like, one, y'all not in the weight class of great MCs. So, like, y'all are in a different league when it comes to that. So then when it comes to your league of, like, second-rate MCs, like, Nicki's on the high end of that. Like, Nicki's, like, the best player in the D-League, and Remy's, like, a little bit above intramurals.
Yeah, I just don't understand where it got so personal for Remy, because it wasn't even, like, it wasn't on some I'm better than you. The bars were like, you fuck this guy, you suck this guy's cock. I'm just like, what? Like, why did it come to that?
I think that's another thing that makes this, if you want to call it a beef, interesting, is, you know, if that was coming from a male rapper, like, I would have to slander them. Yeah. Because, like,
it's disrespectful. It's too far.
It's disrespectful, corny, and it really don't have nothing to do with hip-hop, because to me it seemed like y'all were going back and forth about, you know, being the number one female rapper, which was, I thought, based on skill, but now it's just turned into, you fuck this nigga, you fuck that nigga, your ass is fake, this is fake, that's fake, and like, it just turned into something.
It confused me because, like, Nicki never took it there, so
no, she didn't.
I don't see where that came from.
Not even once. Like, it was purely about, all right, you claim you're the best female rapper, yet you don't sell records. Yeah. Nobody's checking for you,
and you're really not that hot. Like, you don't have bars like that.
No, you're definitely not. And then, you know, for Remy to come at Nicki the way she did too, it's like, you just better be a dime. And like, you just better be flawless. Like, you're a whole butterface. Like,
school the people on butterfaces.
Like, you know, everything looks good butterface. But like, before we get into all that, like, am I right to say that, one, they're not in the weight class of quality MCs for them to even be having a conversation about who's dope and who's not, and two, if they are in their own weight class of mediocrity, isn't Nicki far ahead of where Remy's at?
The thing, like, Nicki Minaj isn't really... I don't consider her a rapper like that. Like,
well, I'm just talking purely the rapping side of Nicki, because if we just comparing them as pure artists, yeah, like, Nicki shouldn't even respond to Remy because she's on a whole nother stratosphere.
I feel like Nicki can rap when she wants to, but I feel like rapping is secondary for what she's trying to do.
Definitely.
So it's like I can't really judge her as a rapper. I don't feel like she's trying.
I definitely think she's trying, but you know, if you do want to bring in like the whole totality of like what they bring to the table, like Remy is again out of her league. It's like Nicki's bringing shows to ABC. Like she's like.
Well, I think they put Remy Ma on The View or some shit.
Yeah, but like Nicki has like a whole sitcom based on her childhood coming to TV.
Okay.
She's like one of like the cover girls for like Maybelline or some shit like that. She endorses some liquor. Like, I see her on billboards driving down the highway.
She's been business.
Yeah, like Remy has none of that. So like, you know, one of her main disses was, I'm independent, I'm a boss, and I you know, you got to sell 10 copies to get what I get off of one. But it's like Nicki's like, it's like that whole Jay-Z thing, like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Yeah. It's like Nicki's like a, like,
she's a brand.
Yeah, she's a brand, yeah. It's like, if you rank their value, like on the open market, like the Nicki Minaj brand versus the Remy Ma brand, the Remy Ma brand might be worth like $500,000. Like the Nicki Minaj brand might be worth like $80 million. Mm. So, like, whether or not, you know, Nicki is signed in some fucked up deals or, like, working for people, it's like, it's checkers and chess here.
Pretty much.
So, I think, you know, and like, this whole thing makes you think of the back-to-back, where it's like, was this thought through?
Not at all.
Because, like, you think about it, it's like, you know, Drake was on another stratosphere of Meek, because it's like, Meek is looking at Drake as just a rapper. Drake's more than a rapper. He's a pop star, too. And, like, he's got ESPN on the phone, and like, where you're going to get cooked on sports and shit like that. Like, Nicki Minaj is on that kind of level. It's like, she's gonna have you getting cooked on, like, you know, the View or the Talk or like, whatever it is that, you know, these females watch. Like, get you kicked off Love and Hip Hop and shit. So, but, like, what's your opinion on just them, like the comparison of them two, whether it's just like as a rapper, as an artist, as like, you know, a brand, like, is Nicki like, I mean, is Remy out of her league or like, does she have a, because I think Remy was like going for like the kill shot, thinking like she's gonna get Nicki out of here, and that's like, I just don't see that happening. Like, even if she loses the rap battle, like, Nicki's gonna win the war.
Well, I was surprised at how Twitter reacted to it. I mean, I don't like what you were saying that they were saying Nicki Minaj took a L or some shit. Like, mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. The media reaction is in Remy's favor, but I mean, we'll see how long that lasts. So I feel like from that perspective, it's almost like Nicki kind of has to respond to it.
Yeah, I guess like you do have to respond to it, but I think you got to be a little bit more calculated than putting out a 7-minute freestyle with a lot of fucking slander and gossip in it. Yeah. That at the end of the day, is this gonna go down as like one of the best diss tracks? Probably not. Like just talking about it from like the standpoint of it being a diss track, I could grade it on so many different levels. Like, I only listened to it once, but
the diss track is bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Good. It's way too long.
Yeah.
2, like I said before, the bars are mediocre, and 3, it's like you have no business rapping over ether.
Because like, but even with that, she could have said what she wanted to say in like 4 minutes. Like, she didn't really say nothing too over the top. You could have wrapped all that shit up in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fluff.
And she said a whole bunch of things twice, like just over and over.
Yeah, definitely. Like you talked about her ass on maybe like 60 out of these fucking 300 bars or however many bars it was.
Yeah.
And like I just am upset about the disrespect for the Ether beat.
Yeah.
Because like we're gonna be playing Ether 50 years from now. Like we're not gonna be playing this shit.
No.
And it's like, you know, if you really want to go for a kill shot on somebody, like you should make your own mark. Come with something original that's gonna stand the test of time. Like all the best diss tracks have all like had like an original flavor, original beat, whatever. And it's like this just ain't it. Yeah. And the fact that Remy doesn't have, you know, a label or whatever behind her, a team that leads you to making false moves like this, I think.
I mean, well, Meek made those false moves, so...
Yeah, well, Meek's an idiot.
Yeah, he had the label and the team and all that type of shit.
Yeah,
so.
but Meek's an idiot. He's surrounded by a bunch of yes men.
Yeah, some people are just fucking stupid. And speaking of that, it's like Remy was saying something about Meek couldn't fuck for 3 months or some shit. It's like, how do you even get information like that?
Yes, some of it's just like gossip, slander, whatever. That will never be substantiated. Yeah. So it's like, why put it on wax?
The miseducation of Remy Ma.
Yeah, and it's like, and if that is true, like then like if that does play out to be true, then like we'll just have to have a whole nother noodle conversation about Meek.
Are we not men part 2?
Yeah, are we not men part 2? Because like. It's kind of like what Beanie Siegel said to Meek on the text on John. Like, you don't discuss the details of your relationship with another man. You don't discuss it with another woman either. Sure, like that's private. That's y'all private business.
You go talk to that shit in front of a professional.
Yeah, like if Nicki's ass is leaking juice, like that's between y'all and her doctor, like your healthcare provider. So like I love to like look at the social media and like just see her like they buried her and all that.
Yeah, the cheap immediate reaction.
Yeah, but it was like the day before when Nicki dropped "Make Love." It's like, oh, Remy's out of here, she's gone, and then like if Nicki does decide to come back in like a day or two, it'll be like, oh, Remy's done, she's gone.
So do you think that the Nicki diss was miscalculated as well?
No, because it was all fair play. Like they were going back and forth about who was a better rapper, and like that is about the sport of hip hop. Yeah. Like, you know, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Like the whole thing with subliminals, and I do appreciate the fact that that Remy just got on there and said exactly who she was talking about.
Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, so there was no misconception. Like I do love that part of it, but I do think. See, like that whole subliminal shit, like it just leads to the situation going somewhere where it don't, like it didn't have to come to this.
It really didn't.
It didn't have to come, like, cause it's ugly.
It's kind of disappointing to me. It's like, cause that's just cheap. Like, why are you coming at somebody like that? Like,
yeah, and it's like, is this what we're talking about, really?
Like on a personal level,
like leaking asses and who you sucked and fucked.
Because it's really not important in the main scheme of things.
No, it's not.
You're really not telling me nothing.
It's very unimportant. Like I don't remember who you said she sucked and fucked. I just remember you.
Well, it was Ebro. It's like, no, fuck. Like I took notes, nigga. Too.
Shout out to Ebro if he popped Nicki.
Well, I shout out to Ebro.
Yeah, because I'd pop Nicki.
I feel like niggas gotta stop putting bitches on pedestals like that. Like, I feel like it's some bitch in the hood that look alright. Like, maybe.
Of course, but, like, she's not. Like, the bitch in the hood ain't worth, like, $60 million. Like, that's the come up part of it.
Right.
Like, when niggas is like.
As long as you niggas know. Like.
Oh, no, like, pussy's pussy.
You can find you a bad bitch somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
Like, just in the shadows.
Like they pulled all these bad bitches out the shadows and put some light on them. Yeah. That's all.
And injected some fucking fake shit in their ass.
Yeah, that's all. You know, but yeah, shout out to Ebro if you out here fucking $60 million bitches, but you should be getting them pregnant. So, you know,
get you pregnant.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting you pregnant.
Everybody's getting pregnant.
Exactly. Shout out to Oprah.
Maybe niggas are shooting blanks. You never know.
That's
They call me Blank Man.
Oh shit. So I mean, I don't want to talk about this too much more because I just feel like it's whack.
Whack as shit.
Like, you know, the song was whack. It really wasn't worth this much.
The situation was whack.
Yeah, like the situation's whack. Yeah. And
Hov did that, so hopefully you'd have to go through that.
Exactly. Like y'all need to learn from Uncle Hov, and stop the shenanigans. But the one other thing I did want to talk about was the record sales. Like, you know, Remy did a lot of talking about this, that, and the third, but it's like, are you even relevant, or
No.
do you need this Nicki Minaj chatter around you to be relevant? And I think like there's a lot of people in the industry that like they need some sort of conflict, they need some sort of like ugly publicity to keep themselves relevant, because that just shows that you're not that good of a rapper. Like that shows that you're not that good of an artist. Like when your album's selling 11,000 copies, like whether or not, like, yeah, maybe on the business end you made some money off of it, but in the grand scheme of things, you're not relevant. That's what that shows you.
And maybe that was a decent business strategy for Remy Ma, because if you think about it, it's like, where's the next all the way up coming from? Like, what's the next move for her? And maybe it was a Nicki Minaj disc, because I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? What's next after this? So, like, the publicity might have been worth it for her, even though it might not build after that.
Yeah, but that's fleeting. Like, do you want your career to be based on what other people can do for you? Like, what your interactions with other people can do, like, to boost your name? Like these are like the rappers that they know when they put out an album, like they have to call 10 different people just to generate enough buzz for them to get an album out, because them alone isn't gonna do anything. Like, we've heard Remy alone, and we've heard Remy with Fat Joe, and we've heard, like, I don't even know what else we've heard from Remy. Like, I never knew that, like, Remy was this person we were supposed to care about in hip hop. Like, I always thought she was irrelevant.
Yeah, and there's really not too many people, I feel like, in hip hop that can do it alone. I mean, maybe Drake, but other than that, it's like, who can make a full album alone that, like, you gonna fuck with, and it's like you gonna be into the whole fucking album.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's people. There's a lot of people like that I think have a core and all of that, but like I just don't think Remy she might not have that core. Like you and Fat Joe came together, brought both of your audiences together. Yeah, and y'all sold less than 12,000
Did Remy ever really have an audience though? Like, she dropped one album and went to jail.
That's what I just said. Like, she don't have a core, so she needs this type of drama and shit to sustain her career. That's why you're doing reality TV. Like, there was a good quote from Omarion was on the Breakfast Club this week, and he was talking about, you know, reality TV, and like they asked him, like, do you think like they should make a B2K movie and all of that, because like the New Edition movie, and he was like, yo, once you start doing the reality TV and the movies, like, it's over. Like, because you're telling your story, that means there's nothing left to tell. It's like you're on Love and Hip Hop because you're not popping as an artist. Popping artists don't do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, shit, absolutely. I mean, shout out to Remy, though.
Her first album, There's Something About Remy, sold 160,000 copies.
And I think she dropped that shit back when they were selling albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
160.
Oh, I forgot. She has I'm Conceited. Like that.
I forgot about that shit.
That's also her other.
Yeah, I look too good to be sucking dick.
Yeah, where'd that shit chart? That shit charted at number 25 on the hip hop tracks, and number 90 on the Billboard Hot 100. So I don't know who these people think they are.
Oh, she also had a song called "Feel So Good." Was that with I think that was with Neo.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was another single for her that peaked at number 101 on Billboard Hot 100 and number 20. Oh, that song is called whatever, the right hand up and the left hand.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was just called Put Your Right Hand Up.
So Nicki Minaj has sold 20 million singles as a lead artist and 60 million singles as a featured artist. Like, and we know she has platinum albums. So, like, Remy's not even... She has one platinum single, maybe two with Lean Back. She has 2 platinum singles and an album that didn't go gold. And this shit with Fat Joe's definitely not going gold. Like, that should have to stay on the charts forever. Like, y'all started at 12,000. So, you know, to quote Drake, think before you come for the great one. A new show on HBO called Crashing. We all know Steve is our resident comedian, so he knows all about this life. It's basically about this.
Am I Abad's Corner's resident dick joke dispenser?
Yeah, resident dick joke dispenser. It's about Pete Holmes, trying to make it as a comedian in New York City, and he crashes on a bunch of established comedians' couches after his wife cheats on him. And I watched the first 2 episodes. Didn't think it was really funny. Not really for me, but I think Steve liked it because he's a aspiring comedian, and he I guess connected with it or something.
I mean, it's relatable to me, going into spots, getting guest spots and bombing and shit like that. So, I think the characters are pretty likable. I mean, I like Artie Lang's character. So, but I think one thing you were saying was the Pete Holmes character wasn't believable.
No, he's not.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. And it's
like, cause he's a pussy.
Yeah, and it's just weird watching him go through the daily life of him in that character. He's a strange guy. Yeah,
and it's like, your wife. You catch your wife like mid coitus, and
coitus.
Yeah,
it's cool. The people are coitus.
Sexual relations. You catch her mid coitus, and then you try to get her back. Like, where do they do that at?
Scotty's about to take his wife back.
Yeah, and we gave Scotty his appropriate fucking reprimands last week.
Oh yeah, well, like you said, where do they do it at? Plenty of people do it.
I don't know why. Like your wife disrespected you in your own crib, in your own bed, and you want her back. Like y'all niggas want somewhere to live too bad. Like, if you don't get yourself together and be a man.
Some niggas don't got their paperwork in order. You gotta get that prenup.
Yeah, but, the show, I guess the premise isn't that believable. That all of these these established comedians are going to keep letting you stay on their couch. Like, how many seasons can you get out of that premise? Like, is he going to keep crashing on couches into season 2? Yeah. Or is the show going to turn in a different direction where the title doesn't make sense anymore?
Yeah, because, I think that is the biggest problem. And also is it really isn't believable that Artie Lang's just gonna come out of a comedy club and let some random dude just sleep on his couch. Like, I don't.
That is believable. Artie Lang, he's a fucking drug addict. And he's lived a party lifestyle, so he's probably a little more free and loose than a lot of people.
Okay.
So I do kind of buy that, especially the version of Artie Lang they showed in the show.
Yeah,
that part of it was believable, but I don't think it's believable that you're gonna keep opening for these comedians and you're gonna habitually keep staying on their couches.
Yeah, especially bombing, because you can't. I don't think you could just hop into a club and just figure it out. Like, you got to go to open mics and shit like that. Like, you're gonna keep bombing, and it's gonna be guys are just whoa, I don't think guys are just going to keep letting you open for them and bomb for it.
Yeah, and what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
It's a HBO show that HBO sometimes makes these shows that are for niche audiences.
Yeah. Because I'm going to keep watching it.
It's like the same thing with Insecure. Insecure doesn't have high viewership, but it has a niche audience, so it gets to stay around.
I think if you're a comedy nerd and you're a fan of comedy, you'll enjoy it. So... But I think for the common man, for an Ahmad, it's it's not going to be for him.
No, it's not. Definitely not for me. And then HBO made another show, based on a book called Big Little Lies. It's just a mini series, and it's basically about these 3 women living in this affluent neighborhood in California, and somebody gets murdered. And I guess it's gonna slowly unravel to who committed the murder and why they got murdered, because it's like some bickering housewife shit. And the crazy part to me is, as a 20-something-year-old black man. I'm obviously not their target audience for that show, but I found it way more enjoyable than Crashing.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? It was just more entertaining?
Yeah, I think it was more entertaining. I thought the acting was better.
Well, you have comedians acting, so...
All right. Well, hire some actors to play comedians. I just thought the acting was better, and I'm interested to see like this beef between like these housewives. Like I find it interesting. Like I think like I can watch that instead of actually watching like one of these reality shows about housewives. I can't watch that type of shit. Like some scripted shit where like there's the whole murder thing. Like we don't know who did the murder. Like I'll probably keep watching to find out. It's like an 8-part miniseries. So I watched the first episode, and I think I'm gonna keep watching it. But I think that like that kind of says something. Maybe that's just me, and like I'm like an outlier. But I think that says something about some of these shows. Maybe either your target audience is too small, or like your target audience isn't always who you think it's gonna be.
Pretty much.
So you should just sometimes make a better show, and let people find your show instead of targeting your show just towards like the underground stand-up crowd, which I think Crashing is targeted towards. It's not really just like a good show that happens to be about a comedian that's trying to do stand-up. It's a show made by comedians about trying to make it in stand-up, and it's like the average person's not going to relate to that. But like if you make a show that's just a good show, and then this happens to be what your main character does, then it's something completely different. So
what was the problem with Insecure then? Because like
I didn't say
you were saying it didn't get high viewership.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because one like you're only going to get but so much viewership on cable, on HBO. And HBO didn't have a history, I think, of promoting anything made by black people. So maybe, I don't know if it didn't get all the accurate marketing and everything, but I do think, like, through this whole award season, it got nominated, and, like, it was promoted heavily by like, different black media outlets. I think when you come around to the second season, the ratings in Insecure are gonna go up.
Season 2, we bounce back.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna go up because they were thinking about canceling it, but then like they saw that like it's a highly tweeted about show, like has a big social media presence. Critics like it. It got nominated for awards. So like next season, you might see the viewership go up to like 1 million. Like I think this season it averaged around 500,000. So and then you got to give people time to find shows. Like that was like the Breaking Bad effect. It was on Netflix all summer long, and then like come the next season, like they gained like a couple 100,000 viewers. So I think Insecure has room to do that. I don't know what Crashing's first week ratings were, but I know I'm checking out. I watched 2.
So I mean, I think all around in general, it's probably gonna be hard for HBO to compete with Netflix because of just how much shit that you can watch on there, just how much niche shit that they have on Netflix.
Yeah, and then HBO is also still constricted by that weekly viewing model. Yeah. They have gone to now where they are early premiering a lot of the episodes of their shows. So maybe they will get to the point where like they have a show that they're gonna air weekly on TV. But at the same time, the entire season will be available on HBO Go. Because, there's 2 different markets that haven't already caught up with each other. Like, there are some people that, it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, let me sit down to watch Crashing. But then there's other people that's like, it's Saturday afternoon, I'm just going to binge 5 episodes of Crashing. So I think you can serve both of those customers because they're not selling advertising on HBO, so it's really just about the total viewership and making sure people keep their subscriptions. Yeah. And maybe HBO will get into more shows that are just going for a niche market. And like how Netflix is, like they have 50 different shows that are acceptable to 50 different people. Yeah. But I don't know if HBO has the money to do that right now. Netflix has a ton of money. I think they probably bring in more global revenue than HBO is right now. And I'm not about to fact check it. So, so also new this week, Trevor Noah had a new special on Netflix called In the Dark. You know, it's basically about Trevor's views on, you know, the interactions of race and culture, being that he's from South America and he's come over to America to be a TV host, but he's also been around the world. So, like, you know, he brings, like, an interesting perspective about, you know, race, about, like, you know, different cultures and all that, being that he's, like, biracial, but, you know, in America you're considered a black man. Like, you know, what no matter who your mom or your dad is.
Well, yeah.
So, I thought it was funny. Like, you know, he does a bunch of different accents, and like his takes on a lot of different things were funny. So it's definitely a dope special you should check out.
Yeah, a lot of characters, wide range of topics. Yeah, I mean it's a great special. I feel like people know what Trevor Noah does at this point. You know, he's got the show on. He does the Daily Report now?
He does, the Daily Show.
Yeah, he does the Daily Show. So, you know, it's definitely a lot of, like, political humor. So, yeah, definitely check it out.
So, you know, I've talked about this Jordan Peele movie for a couple weeks.
Slandered it?
I didn't slander the movie so much as Peele because of his record, which I think I was justified. The things I've talked bad about him is, you know, that little skit that they did on the show, like, about the slavery. I think, like, a lot of the shit that they've done about race may have been just, like, a little tone deaf to me. And I never thought that they were overly funny anyway.
Yeah. What about, like, all right, so what's the difference between that shit and then, like, how Chappelle would do, like, the nigga family?
That shit's unacceptable too. Like,
okay.
I watched that skit recently. It's like, ew.
Yeah.
And I think Chappelle looks at a lot of those skits. I think he said that he's looked at some of those skits and wish he didn't do some of them.
Yeah, but you were one of the ones complaining about, like, if I was Chappelle, I would have took the bread.
No, yeah, I would have taken the money, but, like, you don't have, like, he was still writing his sketches. Like, he had plenty of other sketches he could do. Yeah. Like, you know, him and Neil Brennan were writing the sketches. So, like, they were coming up with that shit. So, like, you know, you could have done more Tyrone Biggums or more, like, his funnier sketches weren't any of that shit. Like, but I do find the Clayton Bigsby character hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
that shit was great.
That's funny. Yeah. I just think, like, shit like the nigger family, like that's a swing and a miss.
Because, yeah, it doesn't really even make sense. I don't find the funny in that.
No, yeah, it was a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
But I just think Key and Peele, I never really found them funny, and then, like, I saw that one sketch and I was like, oh yeah, like, y'all are on some bullshit.
Yeah.
So, but, like, you know, his movie Get Out, which I really wasn't gonna go see because, like, you know, I'm not into horror or anything, but, you know, now it's turned into this big thing about race, and it did 30 million this weekend, so it was a, you know, huge opening. And you know, I'm not into horror, but maybe I'll just check it out because I'm into movies and shit, and just to see if it's good, you know, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and all that jazz. So, I guess I'll see the movie and see if he changes my opinion of him, but, you know.
So do you think this movie is him trying to keep it real?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, you know, I have said on this podcast before, like, you know, there's tons of different ways to be black. I was never questioning his blackness. I was just questioning, like, some of the shit that you put out that I just thought was corny. Like, so.
Because it does make you look weird as a black man, and maybe that's, like, what Aries Spears is trying to express. Like, you ever see that video he's talking about on Vlad TV?
Yeah, yeah.
And he caught a lot of flack for that.
Yeah, like, because they're not, like, they don't make... Most of their shit, I don't think is, I don't think their target audience is like a black audience.
Yeah.
Like, they make shit that you know, I'm sure there's black people that enjoy it, but I'm sure the majority of their audience is white.
Yeah. I think because that's really the biggest difference between, like, that and what Chappelle, I think, was doing, because I feel like that show spoke, like, a general language that everybody could understand.
Yeah, and I, like, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like, they probably, maybe they just relate more with white culture. Like, both of them are married to white women. Yeah. So, like, that's definitely going to influence your comedy and influence your art and all of that type of shit. So, you know.
Yeah, I was kind of confused why, like, Aries caught so much flack for that. Because it didn't really seem like...
Because nowadays, everybody's so sensitive, and if you say anything critical of anyone, you're a hater.
Because it didn't seem like he was really... It seemed like he was basically kind of just saying what you were saying.
Yeah, but you call me a hater?
Wait, well, yeah, well, you do it differently though. Like,
How? No, I might be more blunt, like because like I don't feel the need to be politically correct. Like I don't have any connections with any of these people. They're not my friends, and I like you're my friend, but I was like if you do some fuck shit, like I'm gonna say it bluntly.
I appreciate that.
So like, what am I sugarcoat for some people on TV for? Yeah. Like I'm doing a podcast here. Like this ain't the UN. So, like, you know, I'm gonna check his movie out, and like, if he changes my opinion, then I'll be the first one to say it. Like, I don't just like ride against people. It's like I hope Chris Hemsworth makes a movie I can enjoy one day.
You don't like Thor?
No, I'm not into superheroes. So, like, I'm sure like for what a superhero movie is, maybe Thor is good, but I'm not into that shit. And I don't think just because someone is in a superhero movie that's like a huge blockbuster doesn't make you a movie star. I'm like, there's very few people that are movie stars.
What, like Will Smith?
Will Smith is a movie star because he can get people to come see him in a good movie. He can get people to come see him in a bad movie. Like somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, it's like he's going to get people to come see. Like The Revenant isn't that great of a movie, but people came to see it, turned it into $100 million film.
And J. Edgar. Terrible movie.
I didn't see J. Edgar, but you know, I don't want to see a movie about J. Edgar Hoover. Like I've seen documentaries. Yeah. Like my opinion on him is pretty solidified.
Pretty much. Like there's nothing really more to think about him.
No. So yeah, you know, if any of y'all saw Get Out,
so you go check it out and give it a Mod's Corner review.
Yeah, I'll give it a review. I know Mike was supposed to see it, but you know Mike couldn't be on the podcast this week, so. I'll probably go see it next week.
You said like the nigga died or something.
Yeah, he couldn't be on the podcast this week.
Like Mike couldn't be with us this week.
Yeah, he couldn't be with us this week. Yeah, he passed away. Complications during surgery.
But he'll be back next week.
Yeah, shout out to Mike.
Usually slander Mike. It's like, Mike, taking another week off.
Yeah, well, you know, fuck him.
I don't think he listens to these anyway.
Yeah, so he don't listen to this shit. Yeah, fuck Mike.
Say whatever you want about Mike.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I'll check out Get Out, and you know, we'll talk about that shit next week. What else did we want to talk about? We're at like 45 minutes, so might be good.
Might be. I can't think of nothing.
Oh, and look, you know, the Oscars. By the time this episode's out, the Oscars will have aired.
Oh yeah, the honest trailers.
Yeah, the Oscars will have aired. You know, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of anti-Trump speeches and a lot of shit. I usually see way more of the Oscar movies than I have this year. I didn't go to the movies a lot this year. I didn't think there was a lot of good shit out worth me spending my money on. So I was a little disappointed. But, you know, I got Moonlight coming in the mail from Netflix, so I'll check that shit out. And, you know, I checked out Arrival, which we talked about. I didn't think that shit was that good. And, like, a couple of these other movies, it's like, you know, Lion and Manchester by the Sea and shit like that. I don't think I'm gonna watch that, so you know. But I'm still gonna watch the Oscars. Shout out to Jimmy.
So then, really, you can't really give a good perspective. You haven't seen half the movies on. You can't really give a good perspective of who won the award or not.
No. Like I'm not giving a perspective on who deserves the award. I'm saying that this year the field of films wasn't very interesting.
I agree.
Like I think there were a lot of films that were made for very niche markets, and I wasn't in those markets. Like, but I did go see Fences. I saw Hidden Figures. Saw Arrival. Saw, you know, some of this other shit. But most of them, I just think it was a slow year. Like you can't, like every year you're not gonna have one of the best movies of all time. Like you're not gonna have a great year every year.
Yeah,
in cinema. Like even the movies that are nominated aren't very great. Like they're not great. Like Fences isn't great. Hidden Figures isn't great.
Okay, I liked it. I like Fences.
Is it great?
No.
Like, are you gonna watch it again?
Well, I mean, they're in the backyard for like half the movie.
Yeah, like I probably wouldn't watch Fences again. I probably wouldn't watch Hidden Figures again. Like Hidden Figures is a decent movie, but I probably wouldn't watch it again.
I guess every year you can't have a Will Smith movie, so.
Yeah, you know, you're not going to knock it out of the park every year. Like, there are very few movies I saw this year that I would watch again.
I can't think of one.
War Dogs. I did like War Dogs.
I thought that was last year.
Yeah, well, this is what this year's
I
Oscars
know,
are
I mean
based on.
2015.
No, it was 2016.
I saw a little bit of War Dogs. I gotta see it again.
Yeah, War Dogs was my favorite movie last year. So, shout out to War Dogs.
How come that wasn't nominated?
People didn't like it. I liked it. Shout out to me. So, you know, that's just a little quick episode.
Little Thai music.
Yeah, a little Thai music for y'all.
Gotta feed the people.
We'll be back next week to discuss any future shenanigans in hip hop, or you know, we're gonna review a couple movies next week.
Yeah, shout out to Future.
And shout out to Future. I think his other albums might go #1, so shout out to him if he can pull that together.
He was hating on Thursday too.
I was never hating. I don't hate on anybody. Like, I just had an opinion, on what he stands for. That's all. I hope he makes all the money he possibly can. Yeah. I wish everybody, I wish you champagne.
Not me. I hate.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I leave the hating to others. Like, hate would mean that, like, I care whether you win or lose, and I don't. I don't care if any of these people win or lose. I only care if I win or lose.
Do you care if they lose?
No, I don't. No. I mean, I care if it'll give me something to talk about on the podcast, but like, I'm not emotionally invested in any of these people.
Yeah. You care if Remy Ma wins or loses?
No. Like, I might have a opinion. Just because I have an opinion on something doesn't mean I care. Like, I have an opinion on a lot of shit that I don't care about. So, like, I don't give a shit about Donald Trump. I have an opinion on him. But, you know.
That's alternative facts you voted for.
Right. Yeah, shout out to Trump. I'm alt-right Harley over here. So thanks for listening to another episode of Mod's Corner. We'll be back at y'all next week. And stay frosty.
Yeah, you buster.